Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. The House has just been adjourned for 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's bring you a verdict bulletin now and bring you the latest from the poll-bound states. Beginning with the headlines. Over 78% polling registered in West Bengal in Phase 4 of elections, polling largely peaceful barring sporadic incidents of violence. MDMK chief Vaiko opts out of electoral race in Tamil Nadu, alleges rival DMK planning to engineer caste violence. DMK dismisses charge. Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi among candidates who filed nominations for Tamil Nadu elections. 776 candidates filed their nominations from 234 seats. And in neighbouring Kerala, prominent leaders filed their nominations, including V.S. Achyutanandan and Pinarayi Vijayan. Let's begin with news from West Bengal. Well, over 78% polling was registered in the fourth phase of elections that concluded in West Bengal on Monday. The Election Commission said that barring sporadic incidents of violence, the polling was largely peaceful. Here's a report.
Sweltering heat, sporadic violence and allegations of electoral malpractice. All this marked the fourth phase of the elections in the state. 49 assembly constituencies went to polls in this phase on Monday.
Up to 5 p.m., the total voter turnout reported is 78.05%.
Polling took place in the two districts of Howrah in 16 seats and North 24 Parganas with 33 constituencies. Over 1 crore voters across 12,481 polling stations, including 27 auxiliary booths, were eligible to decide the fate of 345 candidates that included 40 women. Barring sporadic incidents of violence, the Election Commission said the election was smooth.
Some clashes were reported. There also police immediately rushed. FIRs have been filed against the miscreants and many arrests have been made.
The outcome of the fourth phase will decide the fate of many Trinamool Congress ministers, including Finance Minister Amit Mitra, Agriculture Minister Purnendu Basu, Law Minister Chandrama Bhattacharya and Tourism Minister Bratya Basu. Former TMC Minister Madan Mitra stood from the Kamarhati seat in North 24 Parganas district. Mitra was arrested by the CBI in December 2014 in the multi-crore Sarada chit fund scam.
In 2011 assembly elections for these 49 constituency, the final figure of voter turnout was 83.81%, whereas for the parliament election which took place in 2014, the figure of voter turnout finally after all reconciliation was 81.49%.
Polling for the 5th and 6th phases will be held on April 30th and May 5th for 53 and 25 constituencies each. Results of the polls will be announced on May 19th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, TMC Chief Mamata Banerjee has claimed that her party has reached the majority mark after the completion of the fourth phase of elections on Monday. With 2 more phases to go, Mamata claimed victory. As for the opposition, the CPIM has said that their alliance with the Congress will win 200 seats. The TMC chief claimed that her government in the last 5 years had undertaken various development projects and turned Bengal into the favourite industrial destination. West Bengal Congress chief Adhir Chowdhury, on the other hand, claimed that the Trinamool Congress would cease to exist after the results were announced on May 19th. Chowdhury said people had been able to resist the terror tactics of the TMC. So far, elections have been held in 216 seats in the state. Moving on to news from Tamil Nadu now. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Jayalalitha and DMK President Karunanidhi have filed their nominations for the forthcoming elections in the state. Jayalalitha filed her nomination from Chennai's RK Nagar, DMK leader M. Karunanidhi from Tiruvarur, PMK Youth Wing President Dr. Anbumani Ramadas in Pennagram, BJP State Vice President Vanati Srinivasan from Coimbatore South and VCK Chief Tol Thirumavallavan in Kuttamanna Koil. Meanwhile, 776 candidates filed their nominations in the 234 seats on Monday, bringing the total to 859 contestants so far. The AIADMK Chief J. Jayalalitha has declared her total assets to be worth 118.58 crore rupees and the DMK leader M. Karunanidhi as 62.99 crore rupees. Friday would be the last day for filing nominations. Meanwhile, MDMK chief Vaiko has declared that he will not contest in the upcoming assembly polls. He alleged that rival DMK was planning to engineer caste violence centered around him. The DMK has, however, dismissed Vaiko's charge, alleging that the NDMK leader has pulled out of the contest as he was peeved about not being made the candidate for the top job by the third front. The chief ministerial candidate of the alliance is DMDK leader, actor Vijay Kant. Well, joining me for a chat right now is our correspondent Kriti Mishra from Tamil Nadu. Kriti, as far as the third front is concerned, one of their leaders, Vaiko, has decided not to contest these polls. Has he given out any reasons as to why he has decided not to contest these assembly elections? We seem to have lost the line there with Kriti, but we'll try and reconnect with her. But at the moment, we can tell you about how nomination process began on Friday, which is, of course, last week. And then for a couple of days, there were no nominations because it was a fourth Saturday, which happens to be a bank holiday and holiday as well on Saturday. And then on Sunday, being a regular holiday, there were no nominations filed on Saturday and Sunday. Nomination process began again today, and several people have filed their nominations right now. Of course, these are visuals of Vaiko that you can see on your screen, who has decided not to contest these polls. Our correspondent Kriti Mishra joins us on the phone line with more. Of course, Kriti, as far as Vaiko is concerned, has he given out any reasons as to why he is not contesting these assembly elections?
Well, as far as we're hearing right now, he has been alleging that all the opposition parties are trying to be divisive. They're trying to divide the voters. So Vaiko is very specific that PWF and the DMDK alliance, they'll
Kriti, of course, is travelling in Tamil Nadu, and hence seems to be a problem with her phone line. We'll try and move on now. If we'll try and get back to her later on in the program, if at all we get connected. But in the meantime, of course, election authorities have seized nearly 5 crore rupees cash in 2 different places as raids and searches to check transportation of unaccounted money, gold and other valuables continued in poll-bound Tamil Nadu. Cash to the tune of about 3 crore rupees and 245 grams of gold were seized from a private school under Uttanagari constituency in Krishnagiri district. A merchandise of footwear was also impounded. About 11 crore rupees has also been recovered after searches at some places in Karur, Coimbatore and Chennai. A strict vigil is being maintained by the Election Commission against transportation of unaccounted money, gold and illegal money transportation transactions ahead of the May 16th elections. Well, Erode city in Erode district of Tamil Nadu is known as the turmeric city or yellow city on account of production of turmeric. Elections come and go, but problems of turmeric farmers of Erode district do not subside. Farmers' long time pending demand of proper marketing facilities that could help fetch good deal for their cash crops remains unfulfilled. Here's a detailed report.
C. Mahalingam, a farmer in Erode, paying for bountiful rain this year. He plans to switch to onion cultivation from turmeric for better margins. He says the ideal temperature for turmeric cultivation is 20 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. If it gets hotter, then the crop and soil dries up, requiring irrigation every 4 days. And with scarcity of water, cultivating turmeric has become expensive. Turmeric farmers in the region are struggling to make ends meet. With the weather playing truant, erratic price fluctuations and lack of knowledge and infrastructure to market their products, farmers are unable to make a living out of turmeric cultivation.
Naturally, the transport and charges, labor charges, manufacturing fluctuation, water, natural calamity problems totally affects this industry.
Ahead of the crucial assembly polls, leaders across party line are promising various measures to help farmers.
விவசாயிகளுக்காக பல்வேறு திட்டங்கள் இப்பொழுது தலைமையால் அறிவிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது, கட்சியால் அறிவிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. குறிப்பாக மஞ்சள் விவசாயிகள் என்று எடுத்துக்கொண்டால் அவர்களுக்கு ஒரு ஒருங்கிணைந்த மஞ்சள் வளாகம் இல்லை.
குடோன் அது ஸ்டாக் வைப்பதற்காக குடோன் வசதியும் செய்யப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. வரும் ஆட்சி காலத்திலும் இன்னும் அதிகப்படியான விவசாயிகளுக்கும் நிறைய வசதிகள் செய்ய திட்டங்கள் தீட்டப்பட்டுள்ளது.
There is no laboratory to check the curcumin content in the turmeric and with no e-platform to market their goods, many farmers have switched to sowing other crops. This has led to the fall in production from 14,725 tons during 2011 to 12 to 4,374 tons during 2014 to 15 in Coimbatore E-Road belt. The price of turmeric has been hovering between 7,000 and 8,000 per quintal for the past 4 years, showing no signs of revival, further distressing farmers.
Establishment of an integrated farmers or an e-platform may help erode turmeric farmers, with which they can identify national and international rates. While all the political parties have extensively used social media and internet for election campaigns, we just hope that the next government uses e-platform to bail out turmeric farmers of Erode. Reporting from Erode, with camera person Prem, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Let's go across to our correspondent Kriti Mishra, who's joining us on the phone line, and let's hope the phone line stays with us this time around. Kriti, as far as the nominations process itself is concerned, it started on Friday. Several people could not file their nominations on Saturday and Sunday since it was a holiday. Today, again, we've seen several politicians go ahead and file their nominations. Prime among them, of course, the DMK's M. Karunanidhi and Jayalalitha as well. What's the sense on the ground? Is it going to be a tough contest this time around?
Well, absolutely. As far as the AIADMK is concerned, it is ready to take the bull by the horns. And of course, yesterday, the incumbent Chief Minister, she filed a nomination from RK Nagar constituency. Now, as far as RK Nagar constituency is concerned, in 2015 by polls, she had won with a landslide margin of around 150,000 votes. And at that point of time, that she had said that people of RK Nagar Assembly are deeply etched in my heart. So she hopes to replicate that kind of victory once again. And as far as the DMK is concerned, remember Karunanidhi also filed his nomination from Tiruvarur constituency yesterday. Now that is his native town. He is the incumbent MLA, and he has also this unblemished record of winning all the elections. And he is trying to take on the AIADMK time around. The stakes are very high for him, because if he faces another drubbing in the assembly polls, then probably DMK faces the perils of being reduced to a fringe player. Over to you.
Kriti, you've been touring the length and breadth of the state and been sending us some of those reports, of course, of farmers struggling and suffering there in Tamil Nadu. We saw in Erode, of course, the turmeric farmers not very happy with what's happening, and also in Namakkal, where the poultry farmers are going through a tough time. As far as the farmer community is concerned in Tamil Nadu, what is it that they want from the government that comes to power next?
Well, first and foremost, Frank, they're looking for loan waiver, absolutely, because all of them say that the cost of production is really high and they're hardly able to make returns. So the first and foremost requirement that they have is of loan waiver so that they can meet their ends meet. And as far as electricity is concerned, power is a huge issue here. Frank, from 2004 to 2013, only 330 megawatt was added by Tamil Nadu Electricity Board. So they are hoping that the next government solves this problem of making the state power surplus. So all these issues are very important, and we've seen that farmer suicides in the state are also on the rise. So hopefully the next government addresses all these issues of the farmers. Over to you, Frank.
All right, Kriti Mishra, thank you so much for joining us with those details and putting things into perspective for us. Do bring us those updates now and then, and as and when you can get them, so that we can relay them out to our viewers. Moving on now, of course, single-phase elections in the 234 assembly seats of Tamil Nadu are scheduled to take place next month. The state's capital, Chennai, with 16 assembly seats, is a crucial area which would play a decisive role in deciding the fate of the two main Dravidian parties in the state, the ruling AIADMK and the opposition DMK. Here's more.
Located on the Coromandel coast of the Bay of Bengal, Chennai is one of the biggest cultural, economic and educational centers in the country. Known as the Detroit of South Asia for its automobile industry, the port city has a population of over 46 lakhs and over 90% of it is literate. But today, we are going to focus on the 16 assembly seats in the city that are going to polls on 16th of May. Of the 16 assembly seats in Chennai, the AIADMK has 11 seats in the present assembly. DMK and DMDK have 2 seats each, and 1 seat is occupied by the left. The 3 Lok Sabha seats were won by AIADMK in 2014.
Investments are also not coming. In fact, people are going to other states, employment. employment is another serious issue which is affecting us. So these are the serious problems as far as this election is concerned.
Around 36 lakh voters will cast their vote in the upcoming assembly elections. The main election issues in the city remain price rise and corruption. While unemployment and sale of alcohol are also important election issues, the devastating rains in the capital last year could also have a bearing on how the city votes on 16th of May.
During the flooded period, people were very upset on the fundamentals not being met and not being addressed at the specific point in time. People are very much affected in terms of economy. So economical point is concerned, the businesses are very down.
The AIADMK is confident of a comeback on the basis of development in the last 5 years. The opposition, however, begs to differ.
Definitely our numbers will increase without the help of BJP. Probably the Dravidian parties, because definitely it is going to be a hung parliament. Anti-incumbency is there, but DMK has not encashed that anti-incumbency. Third front, if the PMK, DMDK, BJP, WASL and all the other parties, as we thought, would have combined, definitely it would have been a challenging alliance, but it has not happened. But because of the five-cornered fight, BJP may encash this situation.
The TMC agenda will always be for the prosperity of the poor people, downtrodden, SC, ST and minority. We will always like to see that the lifestyle of these people in the society develops on a higher way.
While the Dravidian parties and the newly formed Third Front Alliance are confident of winning, the traditional anti-incumbency factor cannot be ignored. With new fronts emerging in the state, challenging the dominance of the AIADMK and DMK, the election battle is a tough multi-cornered contest. Ravindra Shoran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Namakkal district in Tamil Nadu is India's second biggest egg-producing region. The region produces 3 crore eggs per day. However, the rising cost of fodder ingredients has pushed poultry farmers into doldrums. All the political parties are striving to amass political support to poultry farmers ahead of the elections. Here's a report.
Namakkal has made Tamil Nadu the country's second largest egg-producing centre, Andhra Pradesh being the first. India is the third largest chicken egg-producing country in the world, next only to China and the United States. India produces around 75,000 million eggs a year. About 80% of the layer farms in Tamil Nadu are concentrated in and around Namakkal. However, poultry farms in Namakkal are dwindling now.
அதாவது இந்த வெயில் காலத்தில் வந்து நாமக்கல் மாவட்டத்தில் இந்த வெயில் காலத்தில் வந்து கோழி பண்ணை வந்து ரொம்ப சிரமமாக இருக்கும். அதாவது இந்த அடிக்கடி இந்த வெயில் காலத்தில் வந்து அடிக்கடி வந்து இந்த பாகரை யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம். இந்த பாகரை யூஸ் பண்ணலைன்னா கோழி வந்து நிறைய சாகும்.
100 poultry farms have been shut down in the last 1 year in Namakkal. About 1,000 poultry farms in Namakkal district have faced a total loss of 1,500 crore rupees over the last 3 years due to the steep hike in production cost and the drop in demand for the Namakkal eggs. An increase of the price of soya meal, a key ingredient, by almost 1,000 per quintal has left many small players worried. With the dwindling margins, banks are also reluctant to lend.
We want poultry as a agriculture sector, because agriculture sector is rate of interest is low, but poultry's rate of interest is high. We also wanted forward trading in soya and maize.
Cutting across party lines, leaders are asserting better deals for poultry farmers if voted to power. Assurances of establishment of a separate welfare board for poultry farmers are also being voiced.
Whole farmers, we give the election manifesto. We are whole loans are dissolved from government. When they are getting from government's loans, they are all give subsidy.
Already CM Jayalalitha Madam already helping for 300, 500 powers of energy, powers of water supply, powers of helping all poultry farms laborers.
Tamil Nadu accounts for 20% of eggs produced in India, of which 80% comes from the Namakkal region. Almost 95% of the export of shell eggs from India is from this state. More than 1,000 million eggs are exported, mostly to Afro-Asian countries, from India, of which 95% comes from Namakkal. Namakkal's eggs are in great demand abroad, and the government must mitigate problems like exploitation by traders, non-availability of superior hybrid layers, and frequent disease outbreaks to propel the poultry farming industry.
The export quality eggs from Namakkal face a lot of competition from countries like China, Pakistan and Iran. The Namakkal poultry industry hopes to gain firmer ground in the US, Korea and Japan. However, factors like lack of scientific knowledge of rearing and quality preparation of feed have emerged as big deterrents. Hand-holding support by the next government may bail out this industry. Reporting from Namakkal with camera person Prem, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
Let's now get you news from Kerala. The prominent leaders of the LDF, UDF and NDA filed their nominations as the filing of nomination resumed on the second day for the Kerala Assembly polls on Monday. At least 271 more candidates, including the leader of the opposition in the outgoing House, V.S. Achyutanandan, and CPIM Politburo member Pinarayi Vijayan, filed their nominations. While Achyutanandan will contest from his sitting Malapura constituency in Palakkad, Vijayan will seek a mandate again from the Dharmadome in Kannur. So far, 300 nominations have been filed. The highest number of 36 nominations were filed in Palakkad, while Pathanamthitta recorded the lowest of 6 nominations. Meanwhile, in Puducherry, 41 more candidates filed their nominations on Monday, taking the total number to 44. BJP State President Swaminathan, former Chief Minister and Congress leader V. Vaithyalingam, PCC Chief A. Namashivayam and CPI's State Secretary R. Vishwanathan are among the prominent leaders who filed their nominations. Meanwhile, election campaign picked up steam in the state with the IADMK Supremo and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha kicking off her party's campaign in Puducherry. A few days ago, DMK Chief M. Karunanidhi visited Puducherry and introduced his party's candidates. DMK is contesting the polls in alliance with the Congress. A number of star campaigners, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Congress President Sonia Gandhi, CPI leader D. Raja, are expected to campaign in Puducherry in the coming days. That's it on this edition of Verdict 2016. Do stay tuned for Parliament proceedings to begin in a short while from now.